Welcome to AI for Good, the leading action-oriented global and inclusive United Nations platform on AI. Organized by ITU in partnership with 40 UN sister organizations and co-convened with Switzerland. The goal of AI for Good is to identify practical applications of AI to advance the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and scale those solutions for global impact. In today's session, we're counting on you to use the live video wall feature to ask questions and post comments to help create an engaging discussion. We encourage you to stay until the end, as we will hold a 30-minute networking session in the neural network. Here you can meet, ask questions to our distinguished speakers, connect, and chat with the AI for Good community. It is now time to kick off the session and welcome our first speaker. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AI for Good Innovation Factory. My name is Josh Choi from the ITU, the International Telecommunication Union, which is the United Nations specialized agency for ICTs. I'm very, very happy to moderate today's Innovation Factory session. Well, the AI for Good Innovation Factory session is actually a program launched in 2020 under the flagship initiative of AI for Good Global Summit. It originally started as an online pitching webinar for startups, but this year it has been upgraded as a more accelerating program. So we help startups grow and scale their innovative AI solutions to achieve the SDGs by providing various business opportunities and also mentoring services and matchmaking opportunities with potential investors and partners, and also cash prize as well. So today's session is a sixth of this year's series. The winner of each session is invited to the grand final at the end of the year. But also through the year, not only the winner, but also the other good best teams will be supported to grow and scale up through the help of our partners, including startup incubators and accelerators and then venture capitalists and also our young partners, so that we can trace how the Innovation Factory startups grow and evolve and are making impact. Especially today's session is organized in partnership with AWS Startups and IPRESTIGE Emerging Fund and Fallingst Technologies. And we've got some benefits for the winner today. So I'd like to introduce one of what kind of benefits that we prepared for startups. So the winner of today's session, firstly, as I mentioned just before, will be invited to the grand final demo day ticket at the end of the year in December. Also, they will get benefit from mentorship and advisory session after this session, which will be provided by IPRESTIGE Emerging Fund, including connections with the potential investors and partners. And also, the startups, the winner will have a featured virtual exhibition in AI for Good neural network, which is the huge global network of AI experts. And also, they will get some of the networking opportunities with the UN and other potential UN partners as well. Okay, so I'm very, very happy to now introduce our really distinguished judges. So we have 4 judges today. So firstly, we have Mr. Deepam Mishra, who is the advisor to startups at AWS. So Deepam, can you tell us a little bit about the AWS Startup Program and also how the program boosts innovation through your program? So yeah, give us a little bit of introduction to you and then to the AWS program, please.
Thank you, Josh. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone worldwide. Very excited to be here as part of this great program. My name is Deepam Mishra. As Josh said, I'm part of the AWS's startups organization. Within the startups organization, I'm part of the AI and ML team, a business team which provides specific support, business support and technology support specifically focused on startups. My own background is also as an entrepreneur and a seed investor. Before joining AWS, I founded several computer vision startups and a small seed fund. Our team's real focus is to help all the early stage startups. There's no startups too early for AWS to be interested in. We are very interested in the general area of sustainability, agriculture technology, and many other emerging sectors for AI and machine learning. So all you startups out there who are looking for support, business support, and technology support, feel free to reach out to us. We have lots of exciting programs well beyond some of the technologies that you already use. Very happy to be here. Josh, back to you.
Thank you very much, Deepam. Well, actually, also AWS is also the gold sponsor of AI for Good. So we very much look forward to continuing collaborations and also making new partnerships in the future. Thanks a lot, Deepam, again. All right, so now, okay, let me introduce also Joseph Hopkins, who is the founder and managing partner of IPRESTIGE Management Fund and Fallingst Technologies, which are the actual Innovation Factory official partners. So Joseph, actually, you have been working with us for long, actually. So you've had a lot of experience also with us in this program. So tell us about your work and also if any piece of advice for today's startups, please.
Yeah, great to see you again, Josh. One of the pleasures I get to, I guess, benefit from is seeing how we've progressed, Josh, and particularly looking at today's session. You look at our startups. These are well-established companies, 3 or 4 years old. They're all making material revenues, all have employees, so welcome to responsibility there. So these are, if you compare today compared to maybe what we initially started out with, it definitely has progressed, I think, to a little bit more of a maturity level, which I'm really pleased to see. One of the things that we do for folks, for usually the two companies who turn out to be, who get the high scores of each pitch sessions, we'll actually provide some free advisory work for them. And that varies from all the way from helping them with go-to-market strategies to even putting them in contact, even sometimes informally before the sort of like leading up to grand finale with investors. My firm does a lot of different things for these startups. And our goal is to really just sort of understand where they are, what they need, and try to help them move along the path. But excited to be here. Congratulations, everyone. The last thing I'll say before I just quickly introduce my companies is when you think about the 17 SDG goals of the UN, I think emerging companies, and hopefully with the work that the Innovation Factor is doing, is really a key driver to helping the UN achieve, obviously, some of those important sustainable development goals. So again, congratulations, everyone. I think you guys are going to do a great job. So a couple of things about my companies, if you will. So one, we have a technology accelerator incubation fund. And so we will actively invest in companies. We usually will invest, in 6 or 7 companies per year. And then relative to more on the advisory side, we have another company, and that company, Fallingst Technology, a little bit of story behind the name, you go and hop on our website. That company does really 3 things. We do a lot of technology advisory work, largely for deep tech firms like yourself. We do, our bread and butter is really IP valuation assessment. So companies who have patents, I'm a big believer that if you've done some really cool innovation, not only should you be able to protect it with patents and copyrights and trademarks, trade secrets, but you should also try to figure out how to leverage that to come up with some working capital for your company. So the third one, what we do is once we finish with our work there in terms of our IP valuation work, we actually will help companies get funding based on that work. And so we will sort of translate that work into a nice collateral event so that insurance companies and banks can then be in a position to help finance companies. And so we probably have $750 million worth of activities going on right now. So a lot of work there. So that's sort of our little part in helping companies like yourself get to the market and be successful. So anyway, looking forward to it, guys. Be bold. Let us know if you need something, particularly money. And I'm always interested to understand specifically how companies like yourself are going to get to the market, stay in the market, and grow the market. Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph. So I think the winner also is a good team here. We'll have a lot of interesting opportunities and benefits that also Joseph can provide in terms of any kind of startup related advice, and also, as you said, IP related advice and everything. So okay, let us continue to collaborate and to make a really great impact to achieve the SDG by supporting the really innovators from startups. So thanks a lot again. All right. So now let me introduce Mr. Sami, the founder and CEO of Foundry. or water strategy consultancy. So Will, tell us about yourself and also introduce your organization to those who are not very familiar with this area, please.
Great. Thanks, Josh, and thanks for the opportunity to participate. This is one of my favorite things to do, to engage with entrepreneurs that are solving complex, or as I refer to them as wicked problems. So I'm the founder and CEO of Water Foundry. What we do is work with US and non-US multinationals on quantifying business value at risk from water-related risks, whether it's scarcity, quality, or both, and develop strategies to mitigate that risk. We also work with water technology startups and early growth stage companies on helping them understand the network, the ecosystem of water, and how to put a fine point on their value proposition, raise capital, and more importantly, execute on their vision. I'm also the CEO of the Future of Water Fund. We're a venture fund focused on startups that are addressing water scarcity, poor water quality, and equitable access. The American West, I sit in Denver, is facing very significant challenges with respect to vastly reduced water availability and impacting not just economic development, business growth, and social well-being and ecosystem health. I'm the author of 6 books on water, the most recent being Digital Water Technologies. I believe that digital technologies is the biggest trend and will have the biggest impact in addressing the challenges that we face with respect to water. And then one quick comment, water is a cross-cutting issue with respect to the SDGs. It touches on all of them and is critically important, and we're facing some very significant challenges as we try and push back on the status quo. So again, thanks for the opportunity. Look forward to the presentations and follow-up.
Thanks, Will. Well, it's so interesting. So it's really fascinating. So actually, I really hope that we can also make the changes together in the future. So let us discuss later on how we can actually make a deeper collaboration. It sounds really, really great. Thanks a lot. Okay, and last but not least, Miss Kimberly. Kimberly, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so Kimberly Nelson, who is the CEO of True Elements. And so Kimberly, also tell us about you and also about the True Elements, its mission and then its current activities on, especially in this sector, please.
Thank you, Josh, and others. So just a little bit of background. I spent over 20 years in environmental protection, working for a state environmental agency in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and then at the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. From there, I went to spend 16 years at Microsoft working with startups who are serving and creating solutions, cloud-based solutions, mostly for state and local government customers. I just started in January with True Elements, so I'm getting my first startup experience. True Elements is an emerging company that focuses on water and climate intelligence, basically gathering environmental and water data so that we can aggregate that data, normalize it, and present it in insights for any kind of decision maker, either in public sector, the financial sector, commercial sector, and then using that data to manage operations, provide some forecasting, as well as climate change predictions. So as we look at water, I think Will made the comment that water basically weaves through all of the SDG goals. Water is clearly something that impacts operations globally and for all people. So we're looking at how do we specifically focus on water-related issues as it pertains to climate and climate risk.
Thanks, Kimberly. Yeah, thank you very much. It's so impressive to hear that you were working into the private sector, also in the public one, and Microsoft, and also working together with the startups. And I think all these 4 judges today has this amazing insight, and I believe these 4 judges will have a great contribution in this session. Thanks a lot again to all our judges for taking your time. I'm so happy to have such an amazing judge board today. All right, so For those who are watching this session through the neural network, you can also leave questions in AI for Good neural network chat room. So feel free to ask any questions. So basically, we will have a Q&A session together with the judges. But if you also have questions, and I will also deal with those questions after this pitch, and also you can even send a direct message, and then so that the founders of today's finalists, the startups, can answer to any questions. So please, be interactive with this session that they get more knowledge and also get more insight. All right. So now let's move on to today's pitching competition. So basically, the pitching rule is like this: it's a 5 minutes pitch by each team, and then 10 minutes Q&A by the judge. So it's very, very compact. So every time the finalists do the pitch, and I will allot when the 1 minute is left. So I will try to keep time very concisely. All right. So the first team is Precision AI. So we have Daniel Mecken, who is the CEO of the Precision AI from Canada. So Precision Spraying Autonomous Drone System is the actual product that they have been developed. And the uniqueness of this product is actually it's autonomous drones shift the field spraying to be targeted from the air at only the weeds, resulting in a massive chemical reduction in our environment by up to 95%. So, okay, Daniel, okay, stage is yours, and you've got 5 minutes. Please go on.
Hi, thanks, Josh. I'm just going to share my screen here. Just give me a second. Okay. Oops. 1 second. All right, I'm hoping everybody can see my screen there, if that's okay. So I'm Daniel McCann. I'm the founder of Precision AI. We're an AgTech robotics and artificial intelligence company that's focused on solving the key food security challenges of the 21st century. So I'm just going to jump right into it here. What our focus is to accelerate AI-based farming practices for healthier, happy, and more profitable farms. What we believe is the way we've grown our food for the last 10,000 years isn't the way we're going to grow it for the next 10,000 years. And the introduction of artificial intelligence into our food production systems is going to be as big or a greater type of impact as the transition, for example, from oxen to a tractor. And I'll explain why as we go through this process. So this is a big long quote. You don't have to read the whole thing, but the long and short of it is that within the next 40 years, 30 to 40 years, we're going to need to produce 70% more food than we are today as the population increases and prosperity increases. We have a problem though, and we have actually a fixed amount of farmland in the world, so it doesn't change. So as our population increases and our food demands increase, the farmland stays the same. So what that means is that, if we want to feed the world, we need to grow food smarter. We can't continue to do things the really, really inefficient ways we've done it previously. And what's the most inefficient part of farming? Well, it's actually people, right? People need to eat, people need to sleep, and people need to spend time with their loved ones. We don't have time to obsess about every single plant in the field. So we make these decisions, agricultural decisions at field levels, which means that, for example, if we spray absolutely everything. But even though there's only about 5% of the biomass of a field actually has weeds on it. So here is an example, if you can see the video, if it's not too choppy, about 80% of the spray that's broadcast in an application, and every farm around the world does this, but as you can see, about 80% of it hits the dirt and does absolutely nothing. And it's actually very expensive. It represents almost 30% of input costs. And then in addition to that, about 10 to 15% of what you spray actually gets into the crop, which is exactly what you don't want. So you've got a critical business process used by virtually every farm around the world that operates at about a 5% functional efficiency, mostly because humans can't deal with individual plants. So in dollars and cents, what this translates to is about a 1,000-acre farm is dumping about $57,000 a year onto the ground. $12 billion problem in this part of the world, and globally it's about $35 billion of wasted chemical that we're just dumping onto things that don't need it. And food production is fundamentally changing. People are awakening to what they put inside their bodies, and we're starting to demand foods with less pesticide residue. Further, a lot of things that are happening in the world right now are meaning that people actually can't get the type of crop inputs like the fertilizers and the pesticides they need. So we need to figure out how to do things better and faster. So what we've done is we've created something called the world's first See and Spray drone. It's actually a drone platform with this built-in sprayer and individual nozzle controls that's capable of flying over a field and individually precisely using AI to spray only the weeds and nothing else. And so this is sort of what it looks like as it's flying over there, if you can see this. The green represents crop and the red represents weeds. So if you look in the left side, that's normally what's sprayed, everything. If you look in the right side, only the red would be sprayed. So it works out to about a 95% savings over the amount of chemical we're applying to our crops today. So the other thing that we've done is we've engineered a brand new platform that also controls drift, which is an interesting thing because a lot of the problems with existing types of drone applications or aerial applications is the chemical drifts into other fields or into the areas of human exposure, and our system doesn't do that. So in addition to being able to spray individual weeds, we can also control drift and reduce chemical consumption. So because of this, our mission is to put, AI-powered drones in every farm around the world. There's about 570 million of these, and we can save the farmer enough money that it makes economic sense. So we think that drones are going to be on the farm in the same way that a tractor is today. The economics are just absolutely
1 minute left.
In their favor. Sorry, how many minutes?
1 minute.
1 minute? Okay. So the economics are totally in our favor here compared to existing methodologies. That saves the farmer a ton of money. We've got a world-class team that's building these products. We've got about 5 PhDs and 20 people with masters on this from elite places around the world. So we've got about 34 engineers working on this right now. And we're constantly getting faster, getting better. The time it takes for us to build new crop models decreases over and over again. So basically what the way this ends up working out is you've got about a $250,000 one-time purchase of the unit, then we charge an $850 per acre ARR. And once you're on the farm, it's one of the few industries in the world where the lifetime value of the customer is potentially 40 or 60 years. So you can actually make a lot of money. But why would they pay us that much money? Well, because we save them so much money. We can save them up to $63 an acre in inputs. Today, there's about 2.4 million farms that we're targeting, which represents about 670 million acres under management. Tomorrow, we plan on expanding into the rest of the world in areas where drones are the ideal platform because of topographical limitations or cost constraints. Market-wise, the drone sprayer market is growing at a CAGR of 30% every single year, and that's in an unfriendly regulatory environment. I'm just going to kind of skip ahead here. Where we are in our plan is we've got 4 stages of progressive disruption. So we're focused first on the AI, then we're focused on the drone sprayers, and then we're going to fully automate the system and make it a totally autonomous system that requires no human input whatsoever. And from a sustainability standpoint, it's a massive benefit to the environment, both globally and domestically, especially in emerging markets where pesticide applications of pesticide result in actually health problems. About 99% of pesticide deaths happen in emerging markets. And the precision technologies that can apply to the North American market and developed countries are too expensive to apply there. But a drone is affordable enough to actually bring into those types of markets. So we believe that we can actually have a material impact on the globe for this. We've got a great, talented pool of investors and directors, including some industry experts from BASF Zarvio and other places like Fulcrum and the Canada-India Business Council, as well as some sustainability impact funds that back us. And that is my presentation. Hopefully I did it on time.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for your presentation. Okay, now it's a Q&A time. So yeah, anyone just to raise your hand and start the question from our judges. So who wants to turn on your camera? Oh yeah, so you can first, and then Deepam and Joseph and Kimberly.
Yeah, Daniel, thanks for the presentation. Appreciate it. A couple of things. Pretty impressive growth rate in terms of drone adoption. But what are the challenges? What are the barriers for your growth? Is it coming from essentially the status quo, which is the fertilizer pesticide companies that perhaps have less of an interest in selling less? Is it from competitors? Is it the challenge that the ag sector has in paying for new tech? All of the above. If you can just comment on that, I appreciate it.
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, it's in some ways it's the opposite. We've actually got two strategic partners that are global agricultural chemical companies already. They understand that the introduction of AI is going to result in precision application. It's sort of like the ATM, right? You can't hold back the ocean. This is coming whether they like it or not. And the way that they make their money by selling lots of jugs of chemical that you spray and everything is going to be changing through the use of precision application. So they know this, and they'd actually like to partner with the companies right now in order to, understand how to shift their business models and remain on those farms. So they're actually supportive, believe it or not. The largest, I think, headwind that would be there would be the regulations. It's a bit of a dog's breakfast. Every region has its own regulations around drones and drone spraying, and that's one of the reasons we're trying to work with these larger entities who all are already in these regions and understand how to do business there and all the things that go there. But the good news is that the regulations are trending in the right direction, right? As more and more data comes by for drone spraying, the regulations are relaxing more and more. It's not, they're not getting tighter, they're getting better. So we don't consider that a long-term issue, Paul.
Okay, and just clarifying comment question. Are you seeing food, beverage manufacturers willing to pay for your technology to sort of bypass the sale to the farmer?
Well, we're the part of a $26 million project that was co-sponsored by a consortium of companies, including Protein Industries Canada. And one of the things that's happening in the market now is you're starting to see the downstream food and beverage producers and the grain buyers actually willing to pay a premium for commodities grown with less pesticide or grown more sustainably. Right. So, for example, if I've got a box of cereal, I'd like to slap a label on that box of cereal saying this is pesticide free. Right. So if we can grow those commodities and test them and prove that they have less chemical, the farmer can actually get a premium for that. So they are driving some of this demand.
Great, Daniel. Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Daniel. This is Deepam. Great presentation. Thank you. Quick question on application of technology and its scalability. You use image processing, computer vision to identify weeds, as I saw, and you use precision. So smaller question is that work fast enough so that the control loop is good enough that you can make that happen in real time? But the more important question is, to what extent is that scalable? Do you feel in most cases throughout the crop cycle, as weeds may be getting occluded with crops, or there may be different types of patterns, to what extent of the use crop cycle, as well as the types of crops, can your technology be used in? And does it really replace or sort of minimize or reduce the human issues? As from a farmer's perspective, are they minimizing human use, or do they have to use both humans and drones, or they can get away with sort of using drones for a large part of the? So I'm just trying to understand a sense of how you can scale and how much cost can you reduce for end use.
Great questions. So working backwards to the last question first. The long-term vision is to have this as a fully autonomous system with no humans required at all. You basically would have an installation, right? Like we call it the hive, that would be on your farm. And once a day or once every couple of days, the drone would take off and automatically scan and survey the field and use AI for early detection of problems, and then potentially treat those problems automatically as well. So to sort of be like a guardian for your field. That's the long-term vision. It's going to take a while to get there. Today, the regulations typically require a human operator on site. So that's today, but again, beyond line of sight is coming. So if you fast forward 5-10 years, that will be a reality, but today we still have to have somebody on site. And to your first question, I'm sorry, can you repeat your first question?
Can you make this work real time? Your ability to target with precision, given the control loops on image processing and then the spraying as you're flying along.
Yeah, that was actually one of the most significant challenges we had to overcome, was to how everything happens on the drone in real time. So the camera's on the drone. It actually has a fully closed loop system to go from the camera to the sprayer. So as it's flying, it scans ahead, it sees the weed, identifies it with AI, and as it's over the top, it drops the spray on it, just on the weed. To do that real time has been a significant challenge, especially at the resolution that we need to be able to identify weed species. It's pushing the limits of edge processing technology beyond what anybody else is. It's very, very fast, and we've had to develop our own proprietary AI algorithms for this because the academic ones, even the best academic ones, weren't fast enough. We actually have, that's why we've got PhDs on staff. They actually had to invent new algorithms that could do it fast enough.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, Joseph, you're on mute.
Hey, Daniel, I have a quick question. So really nice presentation. Question about the growth strategy. Talk a little bit more. I heard you answer Will saying there were like 2 partners you might be working with. What's your sales strategy? What's your sales force look like? Who are you selling to? Distributors, directly to farmers? And then a quick question about, are you selling both the drone and the software, or are you partnering with the drone manufacturer?
No, we unfortunately had to spin our own drones. We didn't want to when we started this process, but we found out that in order to precision spray, which has never been done before, the drift issues created by all of the other types of drones they just weren't suitable, right? It's the propeller downwash. It's like putting a spray bottle into a tornado. It just doesn't work. So we ended up having to engineer our own platform that could control that drift, which is another engineering feat as well that we had to solve in this process. So we are spinning our own drone right now, but fundamentally we're still an AI company. I mean, that's really what we do. The drone is kind of like the body, but we're also focused on the brain. We've got both parts, and they work in tandem together. So our go-to-market strategy is we're actually A/B testing too right now. So we've got paid trials, like we do have revenue. We have paid trials both from farmers and from a couple of strategic clients. The idea is we don't think it's wise for us to try to create our own channels to market. We'd rather leverage what already exists through the networks of those large strategic partners who are already in all these regions and scale up that way. Alternatively, what we would do is we'd actually go to the trusted advisors like agronomists or custom sprayers who are already doing this and already have relationships with 20 to 25 farmers, and we'd work through them instead of direct to the farmer.
Okay, Daniel, nice to meet you. Really good education relative to, I guess, the inefficiency of traditional agricultural spraying. I wasn't aware of that, but yeah, I think using your technology to minimally enhance the precision of what people are trying to target, I think it's really interesting. We actually have a client who does drones as well. So we are a little familiar with this business, or at least drone manufacturing, and they actually use them to sort of watch the health and maintenance of bridges, believe it or not, around the world. So it's really fascinating business they've got. I did a question for you. So relative to your technology today, are you product ready, or are you still in more prototyping? You touched on it just a little bit from, I think, Kimberly's question, but our question is, are you product ready today? If not, when? And I'm also kind of curious as to, if you're not product ready, when would you plan on being there? And from a scale perspective, I imagine with your model, since it sounds like you're actually trying to manufacture these drones yourself. I mean, that in itself, I looked at your capital needs there, so that accounts for why you're looking for some money there. But I would imagine you're going to need quite a few drones to kind of get you guys moving along to start to do what you want to get done.
Yeah, that's correct. I think we do need quite a few. That said, the way the agriculture industry is a little bit different in that it's sort of the worst of all worlds in some ways, where sales cycles are long, proof points are high. But again, the converse, if you get the formula right, again, you could be on that farm for 40 years, right? It's, my grandma used John Deere. My dad used John Deere. I used John Deere, right? Like once you're there, you're there. So your lifetime of your value of your customer is potentially intergenerational. So it's worth the long sales cycles that you have to do. So we've typically factored in about a 3-year sales cycle. The way that works is no farm is going to, right? Like if I'm a farmer, I might put 30 crops in the ground my whole lifetime. So I'm not going to trust my whole farm to a brand new technology. I'm going to give you a strip or 80 acres, and I'm going to A/B test that with what I currently do and see how it shapes up. That's year 1, right? And then that's great. Okay, year 2, I'm going to give you a bigger chunk of my farm. And then by year 3, if I'm really happy, that'll give you my whole farm, right? That's typically how those sales cycles work. So you have to have investors and capital partners that understand that it's more of a long game type of thing. But where we're at today right now is we do have, remember that 4 steps of progressive disruption that I talked about? Step number 1 is complete, and that's ready to go, right? That's proving the AI, and that involves doing AI-based surveys to detect and geolocate every weed. Step number 2, which is the drone sprayers, is currently in field trials. It's not commercially ready. We hope to have that commercially ready by 2024.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Daniel, for your great presentation, and thanks a lot to our judges for your also great Q&A. So given the limited time, we have to move on. So Daniel, again, so we wish you the best luck. Okay, so I feel so interesting from your presentation. Thanks a lot. Okay, so let's move to the next team called AdaViv. So AdaViv works with indoor and greenhouse farmers to improve the yield and the quality of their crops through our lean cultivation platform they called, and that brings the digitalized on every planet and helps produce consistent and high yield crops while saving on inputs. So we have Ian Seyfarth, who's the founder of the AdaViv. So floor is yours, and if you've got 5 minutes and so 10 minutes Q&A, please go on.
Okay. Sorry, give me a sec here. Share screen. Okay, is that good? Yes, thank you for the great introduction, Josh. Happy to be here with everybody. So thank you for that. My name is Ian Seyfarth. I'm co-founder and CEO of AdaViv. We're an MIT spinoff aiming to really usher in a new generation of highly profitable, highly efficient, controlled environment farms, so that we can grow really high quality foods and medicines more sustainably. We think controlled environment agriculture is going to be a big part of the future of agriculture to address some of those challenges that Daniel spoke about as well. Our mission and our vision is to make those farms more profitable. You know, this is a big challenge today, and we want to do it through what we call lean cultivation platform, driven by really plant intelligence, so plant level data driving something we call lean cultivation. I'll talk about what that is. And we want to bring that to indoor farms and be a leader in controlled environment agriculture and what we call living production systems by continuing to innovate on those technologies and make those farms highly sustainable. We've got an awesome team here to do that. We have a wide expertise and backgrounds covering every dimension of our business. From myself with a background in biology, having grown up in and around farms back in Saskatchewan, where Daniel is based as well. To Julian, he's our COO, brings operational experience and business acumen. And Mo, our rockstar AI expert with a background in quantum physics and machine learning. So to the problem, let's dive a little bit deeper. We're starting first by solving what we call the massive crop loss and consistency challenge. It's costing farmers, billions and billions of dollars a year around the globe. It's a problem across agriculture, but it's also includes indoor and controlled environment agriculture, which is our focus. It's the #1 cultivation pain point today in those farms, and it really just prevents crops from performing to the highest degree, and we're missing our yield targets up to 40% of the time, which is a lot. And so our strategy here is focusing on first the most highest value markets in the indoor segment. And then we also look to what is causing that big challenge. What's the biggest buckets of yield loss and consistency issues? And that's where we focus. And that tends to be plant health and pathogens, pests and disease. And it's labor. These are really labor intensive farms often. And we want to focus on where the waste is in those systems and help them minimize that variation, that waste, essentially getting the lowest cost per square foot in those farms, but hitting their yield goals consistently. And that's our goal. And that's through plant level data, but also optimizing the labor force, so plants and people. How we do it, we've developed a full end-to-end platform. First helps automate tedious tasks like scouting, crop registration using our computer vision systems. We then actuate on that data through rapid reaction workflows in our field software. And then we bring that crop visibility to everybody in the organization along with powerful analytics that help optimize the crop decisions and the growing recipes ultimately. So our crop scanner, we call it the Mantis. It's moving around the greenhouse walkways, scanning the plants to detect pests, stress, and diseases, but also key performance indicators of the plant growth as well. And our farm app and our computer vision reports enable the workers to then easily locate those hot spots, resolve them very quickly, and reduce those losses. We also bring that visibility up to the management level and leads through rapid notification systems and decision-making workflows. And we bring visibility to over the entire farm through an action board and dashboard and an analytics platform to really understand not only how can we improve day to day, but how can we make better crop planning decisions, cultivars, what treatments are working, what are not working, ultimately integrate with the other systems in the farms to optimize the growing recipes. We're commercially deployed across the US. We have really great case studies and making impact, catching 7 times more critical issues than they have been, scanning 10 times faster, and ultimately improving the yields is what we're trying to do. And we've seen improvements with the growers. We're working 30, 40, up to 230%. Of course, there's many things behind that, but helping them make those better decisions, catch issues early is a big part of it. So really big impacts today, and we want to continue to scale this. We have IP behind these solutions. We built this end to end. Our AI engine is completely in-house. It allows us to build models very rapidly, very scalably, and move to other crops very rapidly as well. Finally, we have a very strong go-to-market strategy for massive scalability. It's a heavy slide, but moving left to right. First, we attack those highest value crops and optimize our infrastructure for tighter margins, while we then automate and improve our supply chain so that we can scale more massively. We first focus on the plant health and automating those tedious tasks that I spoke about, but now we're starting to work with integrating with other farm systems, with other farm software, and with those market leaders in the actuation. So that's the irrigation, the lighting, and ultimately use our data to drive automation into those systems and become massively scalable through those partner channels. We're well on our way to that vision. We're already in deep talks with different partners across the value chain.
You have to finish quickly.
Yep, thanks. And lastly, it's really about what our customers say, and that's the highest validation for us. And we have strong validation from our current and growing customers, all seeing different levels of value from the solution, but we just want to continue to scale this and bring it to more farms. So thank you for your time, and happy to connect if there's any questions or interest to work with us on that mission. Thank you.
Yeah, Deepam, you can start.
Hi, Ian. Thank you for the great presentation. A quick question is, can you comment on the uniqueness of the technology specifically? I can see the mechanical, the data acquisition part for sure, in terms of image analytics, and to what extent is this very specific to specific crops, and how much effort is it? What I'm trying to understand is it what's the analysis of making it work beyond high margin crops or products which, like the cannabis that you're talking about right now?
Sure. No, great questions, Deepam. So to me, it's a bit of it is a barrier to entry in terms of how you can generate the most value out of these types of technologies, and then scale it to other crops. Having said that, that's been our strategy from day one. So we've built several, dimensions of the solution to be able to do that quickly. So one is, we try to be really plug and play. A barrier here is like how much infrastructure, what's the upfront costs. So we're very cheap to deploy as we scale it. I think the future vision really is channels and partnerships where we can build these technology and the data collection into the infrastructure, right? But today it's about getting the data. Data is how we drive value, and very high resolution data. And so our strategy was to build that system quickly so that we could get the data we need to provide value. And so our system gets very close to the plants. We can also take side profile views. That's very different. And allows us to get a lot more value out of the data, but also the entire end-to-end system that we've built out with the software, with the analytics that allow the growers to generate decision-making insights kind of both on a daily basis, but also in their crop cycles. So I would say, it's a combination of strategy of being plug and play and easy to enter at first. As we scale and form those partnerships to be more embedded in the infrastructure and take our hands away from the hardware, while also having an end-to-end platform that really provides both very frequent insights. So they're using our tools every day in the field, but also kind of using the deeper analytics to improve recipe generation as well. So I think, many dimensions, but I think you need that kind of holistic product to be able to create value here.
Thank you.
I have a quick follow-up to Deepam's
Sure.
question, Ian. Thank you. From the time a customer says, yes, we're ready, what does it take to actually implement? You say you're trying to be as off the shelf as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we worked initially very, very close with the customers, learned a lot. We're on the ground, quite a bit. So it was a bit a heavy load to lift at first, but we've reduced that onboarding time from 2 to 3 weeks down to 1 week. So the way it works now is, if a grower wants to try it out, we can come in, we bring the hardware system. And it takes about 1 week, I would say, for us to show them how it works, deploy it, train the team on the software. And then it becomes really hands-off after that point. But customer success is a big part of our business. So we have weekly or bi-weekly meetings with the cultivation managers, for example, just to make sure that we are they're leveraging the insights that we create, and that it's kind of being passed down into the entire cultivation team. But yeah, I would say 1 week is kind of the short answer.
Any supply chain issues with the hardware?
Some I would say, like mainly, around sensors and cameras and some processors, but nothing that has prevented us from deploying. We tried to address that in advance, order in advance, and we've been lucky in that sense, but it's something we have to be super mindful of for sure.
Hey, Ian, Joseph Hopkins here. Nice presentation. Thank you so much for trying to solve another needed problem. So just to clarify, your technology is fully deployable. So it's been fully designed, developed, and you guys are deploying it today, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And then do you folks have customers as well?
Yeah. We've got customers in the Northeast, also on the West Coast of the US.
Okay. Is your main focus North America and then potentially outside of North America? Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah. Through channels, distribution and partnership channels, we want to get over to Europe, Spain, Portugal, and South America as well.
Okay, very good. I had another question regarding my last question regarding. So, from the moment you do your diagnosis and you figure out what the issues are, how do you communicate that back to your customers or potential customer per se? And I would assume, is this more of a SaaS sort of platform where you have they're getting access to what you're seeing and then what your analysis is, et cetera. So give me a flavor for that.
Sure. Yeah. So it's a software subscription model, completely SaaS. They don't pay for any hardware. Comes with it. And I would say there's kind of two levers of creating that value and that feedback with the growers. One is fast actuation and frequent insights. So this especially pertains to pest disease detection. And we have a few modes for that. So we have an action board management screen. Customers have now started to put these up in their hallways and their offices, and it gives them a picture of all the critical issues in the farm and where they are in their tasks and if they're getting addressed or not. So it's kind of a thermometer. We also have a mobile app that the technicians, that's what they're using in the field, as you know, you could call it GPS or a guide, shows them where the hot spots are, but it also lets them input data as well. So we're getting that feedback from the customers. And so it's really a machine and a human interaction. Our Mantis crop scanner scans the crop. We get insights, detections on issues from that. But when they do their human scouting, they're also using our application. And when they're doing their treatment cycles, they're also using our software application. So everything's getting digitized, and we can merge those two data streams together. And that they use on a weekly and daily basis. But we also provide these weekly and cyclical crop reports that are kind of like a diagnosis of how did your crop perform, what were the issues, how can we get ahead of those issues the next time. And that's where we're able to do deeper analytics in terms of like, what are the issues, what have you been using as treatments, how effective are they? And ultimately we want to open up this platform to we're starting to bring in consultants, crop consultants that use this as a remote kind of data platform as well to give those growers better recommendations.
Okay, very good. I just one question, and I apologize, one more question. I would imagine, so all you just talked about, is that all covered within your SaaS platform pricing model, or is there also an advisory/consultancy component once you feed them back? Because I would imagine you probably need to provide these folks some insights and some direction relative to problem solving based on your recommendations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, today it's all included. Definitely what you're alluding to is where we want to go. Right now we have basically two tiers, because they can start with a software only solution, digital scouting, the analytics board, and then there's a second tier where they're using the machine vision, the Mantis. So that's how it looks today, but we do want to, once we cover more market share, establish that network of consultants a little bit stronger. We want to move to that type of business model where we have different tiers, and also thinking about an insurance or a cost profit sharing type of business model as well, as something that we think we can move to, but we want to build up some more case studies and understand better how we can quantify that impact and present a kind of a profit sharing model as a kind of a no-brainer option for them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Real quick. Love your strategy, where to play, where to win. The question is, who else do you need on your team to execute on a strategy that looks pretty solid to me?
Sure. Great question, Will. Business development, we've spent a lot of heads down time on product, and we're a very technical team. We've done all the biz dev and sales ourselves, myself and my co-founder and COO, Julian. And that's normal, right? Every startup co-founders kind of lead there, but that's where we want to focus next, right? We want to scale faster. We want to put more resources into marketing. I think one hurdle here is that this is very new technologies, right? And we want growers and cultivators to think that this is not something of tomorrow, that this is something that can help them today. And we need to establish that thought leadership and brand behind our name as well, so that we can kind of get over that initial, like, who are you guys? Okay, some fancy guys from MIT or something. Like, does this actually work? So I think marketing, sales, and biz dev is where we want to build out the team.
Happy to hear you use the word brand and the term thought leadership. That's going to be key in rising above the noise in the marketplace. So good thinking, Ian. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Ian, for your great presentation. Again, also wish you luck again. And so thanks a lot to all our judges for excellent questions. And this is really insightful Q&A session. Okay, so now quickly move on to the next theme. So next theme is called Bloomfield Robotics. So Bloomfield Robotics assesses the health and performance of specialty crops one plant at a time with deep learning and imaging. So we have Mark DeSantis, who is the CEO of Bloomfield Robotics. So stage is yours, and you've got 5 minutes.
Great, thanks. You can all see my deck, my slides?
Yes.
Great, thanks. For all the reasons stated previously, every plant matters. And what I mean by that is crop management is used to be by the acres, Daniel cited earlier, and Ian has emphasized as well, it's moving to plant management. If we're going to get more food on a limited amount of land with a limited amount of water and fertilizer, it's going to come by managing down to the plant. The challenge with managing to the plant is actually knowing the condition of the plant, and that's where we come in. So this guy is the challenge of looking at grapes, leaves, tendrils, and a whole bunch of things on a vine in a vineyard. This routine of looking at the crops in detail has been around since crops were invented 10,000 years ago. And it happens across the world's $2 trillion worth of specialty crops. The challenge with using humans is rather obvious. One is there aren't enough of them. Challenge two is that it's hard often to see in detail a lot of the things you need to see. And well, they're humans. So when you ask two people to identify the same thing, they're going to have different opinions, whether they're looking at a bridge, a road, an X-ray, or a plant. What you need is a way to assess those plants by looking directly at everything on that plant, geolocate that plant, and then tell the grower the condition of that plant, and even maybe predict what's going to happen next to that plant. That's what we do. And we do it with a camera. Developed technology actually was developed over about a decade at Carnegie Mellon Robotics Institute. You put that camera really on anything that moves. We use ATVs, tractors, you name it, and drive, just go. Turn it on and go. It looks at everything on the plant. It's using stereo images with its own light source. It's not analyzing it from a single image. It's actually using a combination of images right now, creating in 2D, next year, ultimately turning it into 3D, and then generating an evaluation within 24 hours. So effectively, it's a cycle that starts with capture. It's up to the cloud where it's analyzed, although some of that increasingly is moving more on the camera. But right now it goes up to the cloud and goes back to the farmer on their cell phone or their computer, specifically on their customized dashboard, all within 24 hours. We look at every single thing on the plant. To put it simply, right now we can tell a grower that there's mold on that grape, on that cluster, on that vine. We have about 16 vineyards around the world. We have a whole cluster of vineyards in California, Oregon, Washington, several vineyards in Bordeaux, France, one in Burgundy, one in Northern Italy. We're adding 2 there and another one in Spain. And we also most recently got into our new crop, which is blueberries. So we are crop agnostic, phrase I never thought I'd use in my life. Some of our vineyards are tier 1 vineyards. You might, if you know, or you're a Chateau Margaux drinker, if you're a Wente drinker, or if you've had any of the Jackson family, Kendall Jackson. We also not only do wine grapes, we do table grapes as well, and including even juice grapes. We have a pretty thick pipeline right now. We're on track to do about 850,000 in revenue this year. We're about 2/3 of the way there. This is our 2nd year in business. We're into beginning the 3rd year since founding. We also have partners. Some of these partners are also investors. So Oppenheimer, if you purchase Ocean Spray grapes at your Whole Foods, the supplier of Ocean Spray, you can actually see it there, is Oppie. Oppie's a subsidiary of Dole. They are a customer and a partner as well. And in addition to that, they also are an investor. We're actually the first company that this Dole subsidiary has ever invested in. And so we've grown through them and are going to be expanding into their crops on a global scale. We work with the Grapes for California, which is a consortium of table grape companies. There's a Bourgogne in France, which is a consortium of growers there. We work through them. Onio is one of the premier suppliers of various supplies to about 10,000 vintners around the world. And most importantly, Kubota. Kubota is third largest tractor manufacturer in the world. They're also a partner and an investor. They've invested previously, and they're actually investing in this round as well. Just a little parenthetical on that. There's a big push by a lot of tractor manufacturers now to turn their tractors into platforms that can do work while they're doing other things. Imagine a camera on the front of the tractor and a sprayer on the back, you get the drip. We also work with a number of universities. What are we doing? We're going to add more crops. So we're going to be moving into other crop verticals. We're going to be looking at more things. As time passes and we get more and more, do more and more work, we can see more and more detail and render more and more judgments. And of course, we're moving across geographies. We were founded in 2018 out of CMU. We've raised 3.6 to date and received almost 2 million in grant funding on top of that. We're doing another round right now of nearly 4 million. We have 17 full-time employees, mostly in the Pittsburgh area, but we have offices in California and France. We do grapes and blueberries, and we're adding still other crops. And I welcome any questions you may have. Thank you.
Hi, Mark. I'll go first. Deepam, good presentation. Like the focus and the traction. Question: can you walk us through the sort of the ROI of the economic impact of what your analysis brings you? Are you reducing the number of people needed for the job, increasing the yield by a certain percentage, and compare that to the cost of the equipment and stuff that you're using for doing so?
Yeah, crop inspection is a hard one to come down on a sort of a traditional ROI. I guess my measure of ROI is 16 very happy customers that we started working with last year. That's probably the simplest thing. We won't get a definitive ROI. For every buck you gave us, we saved you 50 bucks. That probably will come in time, no doubt. But to put it simply, we're predicting yield, which is a no-brainer kind of value prop. And our yield predictions, imagine you're inspecting not 0.5% of a vineyard, but 25, 30, or 50% of a vineyard, your prediction is going to be a lot more precise, and it's also going to come sooner. So that's a value prop right away that they all value. We're also detecting disease and infestation. So some of these diseases are quite bad. So in France, for example, we're looking at something called flavescence de ray. It's so bad that when you see it, you have to destroy the plant immediately. You're seeing that as it happens. So disease and infestation, when they're seen, they're nipped in the bud. That's a cost from a loss standpoint. Crop inspection, from a labor standpoint, is, you're using dozens of people on a continuous basis. You're saving labor by not having to use them, but it's actually more important than that. When you ask 10 people to go look at something, you're going to come back with 10 opinions. It makes all of the opinions suspect because they don't agree. So we've overcome that. And then lastly, just the traditional things that you do in any grow, whatever it is, an apple orchard, an orange grove, or vineyard, there's a bunch of routines that you need to do to maintain the health of the crops so you can improve their performance through time, de-leafing, shoot thinning, variety of other things. When you're imaging 25, 30, 40, even 100% of the grow, you know precisely where to send the labor and precisely what they need to do. So overall, it's sort of a package of value. But we knew that going in because the university had been doing this work in the field for a few years. So it's an easy sell.
Thank you.
Hey, Mark, nice presentation. I think Deepam asked some of the questions I had regarding what exactly you guys trying to solve. So thanks for that. That was very helpful. I had a question around one is how are you making your money? So it sounds like you're manufacturing a piece of equipment, selling to them. As you're getting, and if you're not, tell me how, the piece of equipment that was on the machine. I'd like to know who's doing that and how easy it is to actually have it installed. That's one thing. Two, as that machine is sort of picking up the data, how is that data getting transmitted? I assume is that data getting transmitted back to you folks from a cloud perspective, and then you're feeding that data back to the client. So I'm curious about that. And then thirdly, I'd like to know is competition. I live in California, so the world of Napa and Temecula. So we are big wine people here in California. So I got to imagine you've got to have some level of competition of people that are also doing similar things relative to inspecting grapes and looking at the health of them to ensure, and also trying to get farmers or people that's growing them, right, insight in terms of, the quality of the wine that they're ultimately trying to produce. So give me some insights on that.
Sure. We use the cell phone business model, as I call it. We charge a flat fee, $2,500 to $3,000 a month. That's it. There's no hardware fee. There's no other fees. There's no hidden fees. Literally, you just pay us $2,500 to $3,000 a month. We send you a camera, just like a cell phone. It comes in a Pelican case. There's a little universal attachment. We've attached it to about 30 different vehicles around the world. It takes about 20 minutes to attach. You plug it into a power source, either on the vehicle or a battery. You turn it on and go. There's no training. You can go, you can speed up, slow down, move around, doesn't matter. The camera itself has a georeferencing capability in it, embedded in it. You think of tractors. One of the reasons that Kubota was particularly interested in us is the tractor manufacturers themselves are going to be getting into this game of imaging plants, what I call the digitalization of crops. When we image a plant, we're geolocating that plant because we're going back over that plant repeatedly. So we're inspecting that vine, not just 5 or 6 or 10 times that year. We're going to inspect that vine for as long as that vine is alive. So we're keeping if you will, creating for every plant a digital artifact. The grower is going to manage their crops from each of these plants as digital artifacts. We get the data off the camera several ways because not everyone has 5G. One way is Wi-Fi. So if your camera can get to a friendly Wi-Fi, you can upload the data, it goes to the cloud, it's analyzed, and then comes back to the grower on their dashboard. So they don't have to do any movement of data, manipulation of data, zero. They just got to get it near a Wi-Fi. Or there's a little card that comes out of the back of the camera if they don't have Wi-Fi. We have a portable, very inexpensive, a little portable server that they can take the card, plug that in, and send it that way. Or they can just plug it into the back. If they have an Ethernet, they can plug it into the back of the camera itself. We're not into selling cameras. Cameras are simply a means to an end. We've outsourced the manufacture of this camera to a company called EF Precision, which is based in Philadelphia. So cameras are as sophisticated as they are not our core technology. They're simply a means to get the data. The cameras we have right now are about that big. The configuration of the cameras will change because we're having to adapt to the physical shape of the plant. So in effect, the future versions of the camera will be considerably smaller, and the lensing, you'll have multiple lenses, and you'll be able to form the lens.
Mark, not to cut you off. We've got 2 more judges. I'm gonna let them go and answer a question. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah, appreciate it. Very helpful.
Yep.
Mark, real quick, can you hear me okay?
You bet.
Related to Joseph's question, I love that this is elegantly simple in quotes, but where's the IP?
Well, we've digitalized about 10 billion grapes, 12 varieties in 4 countries. So the IP is never, in our opinion, this is my 3rd AI company as an entrepreneur, and I teach entrepreneurship at Carnegie Mellon, my 3rd spin out at CMU, the Citadel, to respect the end of MIT is right there with CMU, but the citadel of AI. And one of the things I learned about AI, there's no IP in the AI per se. The algorithms themselves could be duplicated. It's in what the data does to the algorithms. So the challenge here with AI, with IP in an AI company, in my humble opinion, is who gets there with the firstest, with the mostest. So if you're able to get more and more great data, more and more very great data. By the way, it's one of the reasons we are not only doing wine grapes, but we're doing juice and table grapes. It's one of the reasons we're not in 1 country, but in 3 countries when we're doing grapes. And it's one of the reasons we're now doing blueberries, which is the variety and volume of data dramatically changes or alters at least our form of AI, such that anybody that would want to compete with us has to go down the same path. There's no shortcut to getting to the same place with some clever algorithm, if you get my drift.
Mark, great, thank you. Want to leave time for Kim, so thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Walt. So just to be precise, Mark, How many patents do you have, or patents?
We have 2 provisional patents right now.
Okay.
We have a provisional patent on and this was the first one. It actually was the original version of this, on a handheld variant of this. I didn't share that with you, but think of it as a microscope that you might use indoors. And then the second one is for the system. So the entirety of this process of being able to capture, digitalize a plant by geolocating it, render it as a digital artifact to make a judgment about the plant.
Got it.
That's those are 2 provisionals.
Thank you. I just love your term, the tractor as a platform too. I mean, I think clearly we're going to see that. And just by way of background, I spent many years during my Microsoft years working with body-worn camera companies that were being used for police, and it's the exact same issue, right? So there might be a lot you can learn from the process they went through. Going back.
Kim, my previous company was a company called Robotics, which was most recently purchased, which we used AI to inspect road surfaces. We grew that to about 250 cities around the world. So this is my second time using imaging as a service, if you will, using AI.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mark, for your excellent presentations. Yeah, so also given the limited time, so we have to very quickly to move on. So wish you luck, and then also let's welcome the last team called XFarm. So XFarm is from Switzerland, and then they provide all-in-one platform for the digitalization of agriculture. And their uniqueness resides in the completeness of their offer farmers and agronomists. So we have Mathieu Cunil, who is the co-founder of XFarm, and the floor is yours. And you've got also 5 minutes. Please go on.
Okay, thank you, Josh, for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks also to my colleagues for their previous presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I will jump directly into the presentation. So we are speaking about agri-tech, and we started from some data. So current farming market is paper-based, that are not valorized. Consider that in Europe, an average of 6% of farmers are using digital platform to manage their day-by-day activities. And to us, this means that there is a large opportunity to drive digital transformation in agriculture, improving the life of millions of farmers. The market is there, as also my colleague said before. Today, considering agriculture 4.0 is a market of $9 billion, more or less, expected to grow up to $40 billion. The reason are mainly 2. One is more historical, so we need to increase our productivity to feed the growing world population. And the other one is the sustainability trend. So consumers more and more are asking to produce sustainable foods to eat. That's why we have founded XFarm Technologies. We were born in 2017. We started in 2017. Right now, we are 61 people located in 4 different offices. Our main office is in Lugano in Switzerland, and we have 2 offices in Italy, one in Milan and one in Rome. And then we just opened our 4th office in Barcelona in Spain. We are in a phasing of scaling up our operation, and so later we will see some data. What we have done and what we have developed is, let's say, an agri-app that now is used by more than 100,000 farmers across Europe. And how we managed to do it? Basically, we offered our product using 2 complementary business models. So the first one is more a direct business model called B2F, so business to farmers, with a freemium model. So we offered 15 free services to farmers and agronomists, mainly related to farm management. So imagine like an ERP. And then we started our let's say conversion from free users to premium users, offering different services, starting from agronomic decision support system, but also moving to other better features. B2F is the model with which we are scaling up the number of farmers in our platform. And the other one on the right part of the slide is the B2B business model with which we are scaling up the revenues right now. So the model is a SaaS model, and our clients are mainly 2 types. food corporates and machinery corporates, so tractor implements, etc., that are willing to pay for their farmers in order to deploy this kind of technology. A bit of numbers. So this is our growth that we have performed so far. At the end of May, we reached 100,000 farmers in the platform with more or less 4,600 premium users, a cover surface of 1.5 million hectares across Europe. And here are some B2B clients with which we are working. So mainly food companies and machinery companies. With food companies, we are working with global brands. So like Lavazza, Barilla, we're working with Kraft Heinz, we're working with the Martini Group, a lot of global companies, and we are doing so also with our machinery partners. So we were able to build with them not only technical integration, but also commercial integration. We are working with CNH, we're working with Claas, AGCO, Sami, really the major tractors and implements producers worldwide. And why we had so much success until now, and mainly because we solved the two challenges of the modern farm. As I told you before, be more productive and be more sustainable. And how we are doing it. Basically, in our platform, farmers can integrate several data sources, data inputs. So we have IoTs, weather stations, sensors. They can integrate satellite. They can integrate drones. They can take the telemetry from their machines. Then what we are doing is an analysis of all this data with several technologies to provide them suggestions, actionable suggestions that they can put in the field. And in particular, we have applied different kind of AI technologies in three different topics. The first one is irrigation. So we are speaking about water, where we have developed our own machine learning algorithms to suggest farmers when and how much to irrigate according to soil, crop, and weather forecast. With this kind of model, we were able to save from 20 to 70% of water usages in different conditions. Later, we will see one use case example. Then we are providing suggestions to them with chemicals usages, so average saving of 8 to 16%, and how we are doing it in different ways. The first one is we have developed risk models for several pathogens, so for more than 30 crops. And what we are doing is asking feedbacks to agronomists, to farmers, of course, with different hierarchies there, to evaluate our models. So in a way, we are able to specialize these kind of models even per farm. And this is one way. The second way is to estimate the crop porosity, leveraging different kind of cameras that are already installed in the tractors for other purposes, mainly for autonomous vehicles technology like LiDAR or multispectral cameras. We are using that kind of technology, to build our algorithms to provide, a porosity index to tell the sprayer what to do behind the tractor. And at the end,
you have to finish very quickly.
Sure, just one slide more. The counting through it, so minus 20-25% in terms of labor effort. This is the use cases. We deployed our technology with Lavazza in South America, in Brazil in particular, on 150 farms. We deployed there our technology, suggest the farmer how to irrigate, how much and when, water used on average, minus 45%. A bit of our revenue plan. Right now, we are revenue generating 6.8 million ARR at the end of the year, expected to grow a lot in the next year, thanks to our B2B partners. South America and North America are the next market next to Europe. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, maybe we can start with Will.
Sure. Just real quick. I love your B2B to farmer model. Manufacturing sector is going to be a big driver in part because they need to have a sustainable and resilient supply chain. So I think you've gotten that right. This is a comment, less of a question, but if you're saving water, you're saving energy and carbon. Have you built out your value proposition so it includes those two?
Yes, actually, yes, Will, thanks for the question. I have not mentioned, but we are working with food supply chains. We are digitizing their farmers. And what we are doing with this large amount of data, we are providing also 4 sustainability indexes to 4 food corporates. So we are computing carbon footprint, water footprint, acidification, eutrophisation. We have an ISO certified tool. So food corporates can, use those data into the market with consumers and regulators. So that's one thing that we are doing.
So Matteo, this is all part of their ESG reporting strategy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's the main driver that is driving food corporates in this moment, to pay for their farmers. I mean, with our B2B model, our B2B partner is paying for the farmer. Okay, so Kraft Heinz is paying for the farmers, etc.
Great, thank you, Matteo.
Matteo, this is Kim. Really, really impressive list of customers and pipeline. Tremendous, what you've done in the last few years. Love the fact that you were able to identify the water reduction and you had that use case. Quick question, and I think you said this, but you were going so quickly. What percentage of your customers actually convert from the free to the paid models?
Okay, thank you, Kim, for the question. Right now is 4.6%. Consider that we are doing it, with 2 levers, like the Spotify approach. So the first one was, to get the highest amount of farmers possible in different markets in order to put there the flags, just to conquer in a way them. And this phase is still going since our target from here to 2025 is to reach 1 million farmers globally. But then last month we started also, premium conversion. So we have hired several growth marketing specialists to start the conversion from free to premium users. It is something that is started 1 month ago. So the numbers that you have seen are almost organically, we reach them in an organic way.
Great, thank you.
A quick question on follow up on that one, Matteo. When you said the company started 2017, when did you introduce your first products, the freemium products?
Actually was introduced in 2020. We had some pivoting during 2018 and 2019. Since we started with only a premium business model that was, I think, also is in a way the standard approach in the agri-tech sector. But then, as there are some challenges in the scalability of businesses in the agri-tech sector. So we decided to change in 2020 the business model, moving from only a premium to a freemium business model, and to find a way to make B2B companies that have a lot of, let's say, a lot more margin than the farmers to pay the technology for them.
Thank you.
Matteo, thank you so much for the presentation. A couple of questions. Could you comment on competition? And then number 2, look at me as a prospective customer. Communicate to me really quickly your value proposition.
Okay, thank you, Joseph, for the questions. So regarding the competition, there are competitors. Fortunately, I would say we have identified some country champions here in Europe. So we are competing with one player from Germany, XFarming, one player from Spain, that is AgRoptima, one player from France, it is MyEasyFarm. Then, of course, we have also US competitors. Probably one of the most famous one is Farmer's Edge. We are differentiating from them in 2 ways. So the first one is that really we have built an all-in-one platform. So meaning that we can provide farmers farm management, agronomics, IoT integration, sustainability part. The others are not doing it. And the second difference is regarding the business model. So the others have a more direct business model approach, like our B2F, but typically they are doing the B2F only in a premium way. and leverage less the B2B partners with their distribution network. So this is the first part. The second question was the value for you, Joseph, as a farmer. So for us is be more productive for the farmers. You are saving inputs, you are saving time, you are making your crops more profitable. And if you consider a B2B companies for food corporates, we are digitizing your farm, your farmers, making you know what is happening in your food supply chain and making you aware also of the environmental impact of your supply chain. If you are a tractor producer, what we are doing is, building like a digital twin for the tractor producer. So what we are doing is like the BMW, the Tesla mobile app is the same concept. So farmers can see all the telemetry data, the things coming in one place. For the tractors, the value is that we provide them with a lot of context data regarding the machine that they currently do not know, with which crop, in which crop the tractor is used, or the implements, etc.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can go on, Deepam.
I think I've had most of the questions. Just one quick one. In terms of technology use, you mentioned you have specifically about AI, machine learning. You mentioned you have access to data of variety of different. You have agronomists also looking at the data. You're providing different models. Just give me a very high level. What is the differentiating aspects of AI or analytics that you found that have driven value for your customers?
Okay, thanks for the question, Deepam. I think in two different ways. So the first one of the most appreciated modules in our platform is the one related to irrigation. So we have built this proprietary machine learning algorithms that per each type of crop at different stages during the season, according to the type of soil, it provides simple thresholds for the farmer to follow during the year. Okay, and then what is happening is that given like today a certain weather forecast for the next days, we are projecting the soil moisture in the next days. So letting the farmer know if the soil moisture is going to, let's say, go out from the optimal threshold. If so, we are suggesting them to irrigate on one specific day with specific amount of water in order, to avoid water excess that is typically a problem in the agriculture when we are speaking about irrigation. And the other point is related to diseases, so through pathogens. In the last years, there have been, let's say, built thousands of models, very interesting models, typically from university. They have built a lot of mechanical models. They are called like that. But the problem is that with that approach, that you need, to gather a lot of samples from the fields in different regions in order to make those models working. Okay, so what we are doing right now is moving, let's say, a step forward, that kind of model, just asking to, selected figures, the feedbacks from the fields in different regions. Okay, so we can, in a way, skip all the data gathering that you need to do for 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. And we are, bettering our algorithms day by day, essentially.
Thank you.
Okay, no more questions? All right, so we can finish today's pitch for now. All right, so let me see. All right, so Matteo, okay, so thank you very much for your presentation. Also, thanks a lot to your answers to all the questions from the judges. All right, so I will give a little bit of time to our judges to make the final decision to select the winner of today's session. I know it's absolutely challenging task because all these 4 teams are so great, and I saw the scoring card, and there might be a lot of debate within the judges. But please try to find the really best team in terms of the who will really make the biggest also immediate impact by using their AI technologies. All right, so please connect to a separate call link that I sent via email as I instructed, and also you guys can actually log out from this Zoom call and then go to that separate link and then make a decision and come back. So what I know is, again, this is a very challenging task, but try to be concise and then come back as soon as possible. So in the meantime, while our judges are making the final decision, I'd like to deal with several questions with our finalists. So there are some questions that I also wanted to ask here. Okay, so basically, agriculture is one of the most traditional industry, but nowadays it is really facing tremendous challenges, and also needs a lot of innovations due to global food crisis, environmental issues, and etc. So I wonder what you want to really ultimately achieve in the agriculture sector, and then what future you dream of in the long term. So perhaps we can actually rotate one by one. So all you guys actually can turn on the camera. All right, so Mark, you are the first one actually turn on the camera. So Mark, you start, and Dan, and Matteo, and Ian.
Yeah. I think it's a common theme from all of us, and that is that, I think it's a common theme from all of us in that the digitalization of plants. You're turning these crops into something that people can manipulate, and the imprecision right now of using people to inspect things, and the non-scalability of that has changed now that you have drones, satellites, ground-based sensing. All those things are going to be utilized either together or separately to turn each plant into a digital artifact that can be, and allow that artifact, whether it's indoor or outdoor, allow that plant to be managed in ways that currently is not possible, where you can get really plant level management. That's my view.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I agree with everything Mark said. I think that's absolutely correct. Creating the digital twin of the farm is really the only efficient way of doing that. I think I'm going to take it a step further, I'm going to take it a step further and talk about there's the next layer to that too. Like information is one aspect of it, right? You need information to make better decisions, but really where you're going to see the revolution is when you pair that information with some sort of autonomy, and you can actually make the machines act on it or do some sort of work, because that's half of farming is information and half of farming is logistics. And if you only solve one and not the other, I think you're leaving a lot of value on the table.
Yeah, right. And what about you, Matteo?
Yeah, maybe, of course, thanks, Daniel and Mark. What I can add is, to their thoughts, it's that also technology needs, in a way, to be simple for the farmers to use. That is also another key part of the picture. I mean, you cannot achieve a true digitization of farming if you are not thinking about the farmer themselves. Okay, so this is one important aspect too, also to consider. And adding something more, it's also important in a way to build like technologies that can in a way involve other actors of the agriculture sector. So to act like an ecosystem, so not only focus on some parts of the issues that today the farming and the agriculture sector has, but to be able really to see the whole food, let's say, sector, so from farming to processing to distribution as a whole sector. This can also leads a lot in terms of speeding the adoption of digital technologies in farming.
Yeah, I also wonder how they think about it.
I mean, not sure how much I can add there. All these guys are really smart dudes and said it really well. I think it's a combination of everything that's just been said. Starts with, building great technologies with good quality data. Mark talked about the importance of data volume, quality, annotation, the IP that holds. That's all important. The simplicity and usability, and then the integration of this fragmented landscape and ecosystem right now. It's farming AgTech, I think, is a bit fragmented right now. It's getting really exciting, but everything is existing in a little bit of silos. And so I think the next phase of how this can add more value is how we integrate these systems and make it part of like repeatable processes. I think AI in general, right? It has great value and power, but it has an adoption like problem. And I think these are the key factors to adoption: is integration, is simplicity of use, and providing repeatable insights. So that's what we got to focus on.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe we can a little bit deeper dive into that issue. So basically, okay, if you can, what would be the really biggest, really pain point and challenges, especially as a startup entrepreneur, particularly in the agriculture? Can you just share some of the challenges you are really greatly facing? So maybe now we can start from the other round. So maybe Ian start, and then Matthew and Daniel and Mark.
Sure. I think, was it Daniel that mentioned 3-year sales cycle? I think sales cycles are a big challenge in agriculture. It's, a traditional legacy industry. Sometimes there is a little bit resistance to new technologies because folks have their tried and true ways, but it's also the name of the game. It's very relationship based as well. I'm sure Daniel can speak to that. And sometimes it takes a lot of time in developing those relationships to be able to get the technology in place. But I think that's only going to speed up, and we can be creative, and agricultural technologies are becoming more and more mainstream. So I think that is great. I think the government can do more programs to incentivize farmers to use this kind of technology. I visited China a couple of years ago, and I think there's a more rapid pace of adoption there because the government plays such a big role in bringing technologies to the hands of the farmers. So I think that would be nice to see in North America as well, some incentives.
So what about you, Matthew?
Yeah.
So you have a similar challenge related to the government or whatever?
Yeah, I think I would say also, I think I can bring here a bit of a European perspective, but it's very similar actually to what just Ian said. I mean, the sales cycle is long. You have to know that like in B2C businesses, like 1 month is average metric. But if you want to compare B2C with agriculture sector, you have to think that 1 month is equal to 1 season for us. So it's very long. If you need to test things and bring things into the fields, you have this kind of length in time. So 1 season at least. So the sales cycle is of course longer compared to other businesses. And also I think that what Ian said about regulators and in general consumers, they are pushing a lot this kind of adoption of digital technologies in agriculture, but mainly because they want information. And if you are registering your activities on Excel or paper, you cannot provide information. That's the point. If you have digitized all the things that you are doing and performing into the farms, it is a way to provide information to the market, to consumers, to regulators, etc. And in this perspective, I think also EU is pushing a lot the policies related to agriculture. In particular, here we have like a common agriculture policy that is called in this way. This is the second, let's say, budget expenses for you, and so very huge amount of money. And more Europe is pushing the farmers to adopt digital technologies. Okay, also in this particular period, also agriculture is becoming more and more let's say geopolitical topic. So it is even more important for regulators to push in this direction.
Yeah, I would echo the comments of my colleagues there about about everything. Honestly, it's a very, very unique industry where you're really at the intersection of a lot of different things. You've got regulations, you've got geopolitical issues, you've got the ultimate equalizer, which is the weather that you constantly have to deal with. But on the other hand, it's one of the most essential things we could possibly do, right? I mean, everybody needs food, and we need to grow food more efficiently. And what you're seeing as well, in addition to the push towards digital, is you're seeing the push from the other side as well. And that's the decommoditization of food, right? I mean, in every other industry, it goes through a decommoditization cycle. You see it in craft beer as one example. That's fairly recently. It's 10 years ago there used to be 3 kinds of beer, and now there's 300 kinds of beer when you walk into a store. What's happening now is the downstream food ingredient processors are starting to seek out specialized ingredients. So, for example, it might be an oil seed with a particular type of flavor profile or a particular type of protein content. In our case, lower pesticide to zero pesticide type of commodities and labels that'll go on this stuff. And so what you're going to see is today's world, which is, for example, organics and then everything else, is going to shift towards this sort of middle thing that's maybe not all the way to organics, but is a specialized type of commodity that has certain characteristics, and you'll see premiums being paid for those. And that just drives the need for digital technologies like this, right? As we get into defining particular crops and particular traits, you might need to grow it in a certain way to maximize that protein content. It's going to hurt your crop and hurt your reputation as a farmer if you can't develop these specific traits that people want. And that's really another driver, I think, for this whole industry.
I would agree with everything everyone said. I don't know much more I could add, but I think the challenge we learned is that you're in the physical world. This is I think that makes this kind of business ag tech unique among businesses. I think a lot of people approached ag tech as kind of this is sort of like a traditional SaaS business. I charge a service, then I charge a flat fee, and then my AI does its thing. The trick here is being able to take this AI, the technologies that we have here today, and make them work in the dynamic, complex physical world. And I think that's held back AgTech for a long time. There have been sort of AgTech bubbles, if you will, I think, by, looking back over 15, 20 years. I think this one's different. I think this AI actually works now in a real way. And I think people are starting to understand that this AgTech revolution is unlike anything that's preceded it. But it's getting over that hump of having your tool work in the physical world in a robust, simple, effective way. And that's probably our biggest challenge. That was the biggest challenge we confronted. Anyway.
Thanks a lot for really sharing really valuable opinions and also really frank answers to those challenges that you're facing with. And I really learned a lot from you guys, and also I also understood the really important issues in the agriculture sector, particularly from the technological perspective. All right, so our judges came back just now. So we are so excited to hear the result. So Deepam, maybe you are the person who will announce the result and then announce the winner, please.
All right. Yes, I have the difficult task of doing that. But first, before I do that, let me say everybody on this panel is a winner to me. It's amazing amount of effort. I'm really humble and sense of what you all do. It's not an easy task. Agriculture as a market is a difficult market to crack, especially with high technology, getting early adopters, and the kind of global view and vision you have to make a big impact. So really appreciate all the effort. The judges to try to take a look into different aspects of comparison. It's not an easy, fair comparison sometimes to some people, because every startup started at a different time scale. They have different market strategies, depth in technology and market. But we were trying to give a sense on which of the companies have used technology, especially AI, to the good and the maximum good impact, and where the model is probably has had more traction and scale. And in that context, we found the tiniest of margin, XFarm, to be our winner for today. And everybody else was a very close second. So thank you so much for the time and opportunity to present. And we really wish you all luck. And hopefully we'll work together. Certainly from AWS, I would like to welcome you all to stay in touch. We have lots of great resources and love to work with you to support you in your journey.
Congratulations, XFarm. So you want to say something, Matteo?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Deepam, and all the judges. Is a pleasure. Also, congratulations to my colleagues. I found their pitch very, very interesting, with a lot of interesting technologies and use cases. So looking forward also to potential collaboration with all of you in different segments and different markets. Yeah, thanks again for the invitation, and again, it's a pleasure.
Well, thanks a lot to everybody today, and thanks a lot to especially the finalists for your really excellent work. And also thanks a lot to all our judges for your really invaluable time, especially for the winner of today. So I will follow up with you, and also I will send some additional information. But also the other teams also, well, we are also very happy to help you connect with any potential business you are interested in, particularly within the United Nations. We are open. So yes, let's collaborate together. All right. So okay, so after the summer break, then we will come back in September with another session with another theme. And also, as I said, in December, we will have a grand final, which will be really great competition with all the winners of each session. So again, thank you very much again to audience as well. And thank you very much to judges. Thank you very much to the finalists. And then have a good time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for participating in today's AI for Good session. We hope you've learned something new, innovative, and engaging in today's event. We now encourage you to continue the conversation on the live video wall in the neural network. Here you can ask questions, like and comment, share links, complete the poll, connect with interesting profiles, or speak one-on-one using the chat and video function. We invite you to explore the lobby, try the smart matching quiz, visit the virtual exhibits, poster boards, the e-shop, and build your personalized AI for Good program. Let's shape the future of AI for Good.